And Orlando.
So push the button, honey. Okay. Javier, first tell him thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed.
Paining pagracho pai kisamos kimanda pai guna paringam.
Nyuka partimanda painata pagrachunimi.
From him too, he gives you
Very
many
good.
many thanks for coming here to this place.
Have him please state his name.
Painiman kan kambashuti mashuti tagan.
Nyuka shutian Orlando Domingo Gualinga Gualinga.
So his name is Orlando Domingo Gualinga Gualinga.
Tell him to remember, please, to look at you when he answers.
Nyuka kikinlek taman Sarayaku, nyuka provincia man Pastasa. Kaibi kausa kunimi pichikachunga kin sawata mamirihuni kaibi.
So he comes from a different province called the Sarayaco, which is Pastasa province.
Is that's in the Amazon?
That's in the Amazon, Upper Napo.
Upper Napo.
Yeah.
Okay. Have him please tell us a bit about his background, his childhood, his family, that kind of thing. For a minute or so.
Pairimang rimawa inisa imanata garka kan wawa kashkai imanata kan wunyar kan genis.
Nyuka vinishkata?
Ari.
Bueno, nyuka nya cuenta atrás que pundamanda calleri serigupi, nyuka yaya, nyuka mamagona solamente sirve con ara patronda.
He said he remembers that once he started to notice it and he can remember that his parents, mother and fathers and the rest, used to work with the landlords.
Landlords?
Landlords.
What does that mean?
Landlords, like people that comes from outside, they have cattle ranching and they were all missionaries or priests that has big fields.
And that was on the Napo?
That was on the Napo.
Okay. What would his family do for the landlords?
Imatata kamba yayaguna braganur kachay patron nishkaguna trabanga.
Chay horas que caucho nishkata, tanda se paiguna kukunara kemi. Paiguna randi chi alekta guna paiguna churano situta kukunara. Just no cosa kunara.
So say they used to work on the rubber sap collection, and that's what they used to work for the landlord. And the payment used to be a clothes for the
What?
a clothing.
Clothing. So
That was the payment for the work that they would do on the rubber.
Is that what he said? They worked for clothes? Okay. What year was he born?
Ima watay kan shamur kan ima watay ta kan
Kaima?
mana kan nasir kan.
Nyuka nascan 1946.
Is he speaking in Spanish or Quechua?
That's a mix between Quechua and Spanish because there's certain
things in Quechua you say in Spanish.
There's no words.
4 years?
4 years.
There's no words for
Pero
years.
na shiminik pestianmi. Shuguaranga es compasa suktachunga chuscuate.
Yeah, so he said there is numbers we can say in Quechua, but he said others that we never use this new, so they have to mention.
There was no words for years in Quechua, so they have to say it in Spanish.
In Spanish, but now they have emphasized in the numbers too.
Okay. When did he become interested in spiritual matters?
Paita pong imuras ta kan yacha namnar kan yacha gunata yacha partiman.
Nyuka pichikwata churashkavi, pichikwata tacharishkavi churashkamani nyuka yaya patillo.
Wixamanda pacha.
Ajá.
So when he was 5 years old, he started to get more into the learning direction, being directed by his older uncle, and in terms of the wisdom of the shaman.
What sort of things was he learning and thinking about when he was 5, talking to his uncle?
Imamanda ta kan pichika watayo gashkai kamba tiugunari manurka imata yachurang.
¿Quién se va a ocupar de Maranchi?
Yeah.
¿Quién se va a ocupar de Manda? Paiguna arikunara maikan kai 15 manda ta yacha tukuna oshai almata charinis.
So there were 3 brothers, and from 3 brothers the shamans would see it who has the soul, who has the willingness, who has the interest, who has the passion, just not talking, but just seeing it. And that's how they can choose a child, not the ability that they can see in the person.
So were these three brothers shamans?
Kang una pa kinsa wauki gunaga yachak chuana?
Mana. Mana siya nara chay berayo tam imenem kay umagunat serikuna chasnyatam rikuna maikanda ushana angni siya.
Yeah. So he's saying like the same way, like the older shamans will see it and visualize a person who is the strong, who is willing to do that.
Okay.
And that's why they chose a person.
So he was chosen by older shamans?
Older shaman.
About what? How old was he when he was chosen?
Mapichego tayo churangi kang chay yachay kunata.
Paigunami nyukata ushayta kuna es como escuela yaiko siya kuintalata.
And he's saying like, yeah, so he'd been choosing when he was 5 years old.
Well, did he agree that he was spiritual when he was 5? Did he also think he was having spiritual feelings?
Paining kang chay pichiga watayo kaskapi paiguna agyanur kanda. Yachak tukungan kang kushiyar kang ichu o kang munar kang ichu.
Mana wawatunuiga mana yaran nyuka yaya mama me paigunami chayta mashari kuchishaga pukuchishona. Mana nyuka yacharan todavía umaylle wawa gañe, no.
So he say no, he has no idea about what was really going on. He's still a kid, 5 years old, has no idea. But this history comes because of the parents start to do it to him, choice to him.
Did there come a time when he started having spiritual experiences or spiritual feelings or dreams? Did that start at some time?
Paining kang nya shunguyang kalyarishka piga erikuno shirkangichu, Moscow kunaipi, yang sacheta purisha, kasna imaguna tu parisha.
Más que todo que ñuka mama paparti manda torigunaga tukuy yachak samillami.
Yeah.
Ñuka abuelos yachaklatami, bisabuelo yakuisyaykumi.
Yeah.
Chayman payguna tukuy paygunami ñukata masti allichiaga sakiwashona payguna.
Of course.
Ajá. Chaymanta a ver.
He said all the knowledge and everything comes transferred from special ceremonies from elderly people to the person to have a vision.
A vision?
A vision. So because you cannot really open, he said, as kids, you don't have to be a shaman to have a vision. You can have a imaginary person easily, but you have to be trained to see it, a specific kind of vision that comes to you.
So, what were you saying? Was he trained to be a shaman and to have a shamanic journey?
Journey, yeah.
Okay. Was he asking him?
Paining kan paiguna chu yachatinur kacha imana rikunata kan imagunata tupasha imataning nese.
O sea que yachayta nikpiga anmi igual que a ver, imena trimaima. Que yachayta nikpiga anmi imagíname que hay doctor guna paiguna yachano, chasnayata tukuy cosas tamikunajo. También gapa sachamanda nikpi, yakumanda nikpi, kuska yachayta nikpi, rikunata nikpi, porinata nikpi tukuytan paiguna kunajo.
He said for him how he can compare the learning process of shamanism, because there's so many different shamans, has different experience and spirit as well, and all of them knows and different abilities, different knowledge from water, from trees, from animals, from the sky, from everything. And he compares that the learning part becomes almost like going to school.
Did there come a time when he started having shamanistic journeys, journeys into a spirit world? Did that ever start happening for him?
Imas na watayo tarang kang chay hayaguna tupisha.
Ayak tu pingaka a ver chunga watamanda. Pero ang sawaya tu piscinao. Porque payo no pinatupo tu pillo mano shangarochi. Ya aicha ya chiringawa ka ansa mo upicha pushana hasta cuando uno ya se aicha rukuya irina gama.
He started to have these journeys with the medicine teas when he was 10 years old. That was his journey to start to. but when he's very young, they won't let him have the medicine tea like in a big portion, the regular portion. They will have a specific kind of measure for a 10 years old boy, that in this way he can start to build himself its own self-confidence through that journey.
Okay. So by the time he was 15 or 17 or 20, he was becoming a more experienced shaman who was making shamanic journeys. Is that correct?
Paining kang nyaya chunga pichika o iske chunga watayo ga shkaiga nya kambinga kalyarishaga nya kang mas ashkanaeto chu
Ya
perangin.
normal te ruku gono pisca topota, normal.
Sisna.
Ajá.
Chay piki imata tarikunga kalyarirang.
Runata waira chingawa tiarishaga tukui mundo manda me kaya niñuka. Tiang me ima doctor ta nikpi, hambina ta nikpi, ima tukui yaku manda nikpi, sacha manda nikpi, kay cuadro mundo itia medicina tukui mundo itia medicina tiang. Kayanchi tukui chaitam estudianchi pero mana kilkawan kilkashi estudianchi cuentan kaigan mental. Yo ya estudia paiguda como su profesor Kushka.
So he's saying like all the learning part, and as soon as he gets 18 years old, like he already gets comfortable and his journey. So finally he can have the particular doses that the older shaman have, this medicine. So in this way he can control what his vision is, how he can collect the knowledge of his own vision, so they can get the collection from the forest, from plants, from different things, that this is going to be their healing transition, the leadership of themselves first, to control it themselves, to be able to teach the others. So that's the particular way to find themselves first, and that will help them to find in the spirit world the support from water, from plants, from different transition to that.
So the trees, the water, the plants, the animals can help you and support you in some way?
Paiguna tapunung yuraguna, yakugunas, ima man sacha wibagunas kakanda ga yanapak shamununju chasnaguna.
Chaita tan waska tupisha ñuka kantasa tiarisha kayariña tukuita. Tukuita kayarisha mtiakuni ñuka. Ñuka mani waska tupisha tiarishkawi kayari tiarishkawi aña su gobierno cuenta. Kayahuni tukuita ima armamento pues tukui harkarishka ukui mitiakuni ñuka.
He's saying is once he gets to a point of this medicine drink and goes into the spirit world journey, he sits in one table. If he put in an example, this like a government, a president of countries that sit in a big chair and start to call his supporters. So the spirit themselves that choose him as supporting him, they are in the trees, they are in the water, they are around in the world. But when he gets to that journey, he starts to sing a song.
And start singing the song.
And this song is gonna bring them all to help him. So each with different advice to lead him to different knowledge around. So it has brings different ways.
Can he please explain how he enters a shamanic state and just describe the experience? What does he do? What happens? What does he experience? And why does he do it? Just in his own words.
Nya pai ta pong imata imanas na ta chay ya chay guna ta kayangawa berangin imata rangi chay guna ta.
Nya waska tupisha macha se tiarisha ñuka kantani.
Nya.
Kantasa me kayahuni kayma.
Nya.
Tukui parte mundo manda me kayahuni ñuka. Chaupi mi charingarajuni. Shugungushakpi kasna itia chisham mana ñuka gari kungalya merajuni tukui mastichi yachakuna sachamanta yakumanta tukui mana paiguna chaytari kungarajuna. Tukuita alichikawasha kuna kambaman chaybi ñuka wayrachicha coronando pukungarajuni. Si chupanak pues chupangarajuni nanaitari kungarajuni ima wañi charishkata kay Shaman partimanta nikpi.
So what he's saying is in general the transition that he does is, but first, if it's really, really necessary, will actually get the medicine to get to the healing ceremonies, healing process. If it's just a cleansing, it does not need that one.
Doesn't need the
Doesn't need. You have to come from the soul, from inside. You can do the cleansing regularly, but if it's a very strong urgence, a shaman is made to protect the community, to protect the family, to protect the young ones. So he is the guardian of the whole community.
Did he say that when he
That
answered?
that's what he said in
Okay.
answer.
So I'm just asking you. Sometimes there's a healing ceremony, and sometimes there's a cleansing ceremony. Is that
Yeah.
right? And you might take the plant medicines more for the healing. Can he explain what he experiences or feels when he has a shamanic? Or what does he see? What does he hear? What does he smell when he has a shamanic experience?
Paining kang picha hushkai, machasha charishkai, imata ta uyangi, imata ta rikungi kasna kanjama, kan washama, imanata kan aicha, imanata ta rikungi, imanata tukungi.
Bueno, ñuka machasha kantasha wayrachiruna titashki ñuka tukuy harkamento ukumanta tiyakuni rikusha.
Yeah.
Maymanta wañushamupi, kaymanta, hawamanta, ukumanta, tukuymantami mashita churashi tiyakuni guardiata.
Yeah.
Mana yaykumuypak ñukapi.
Hayakta upishama, upikpiga kiunana yachinju, chasna.
Maykampi kunachamun ñukatas, porque imarayku mosquykunapi maykampi maluta karawana, malu gentikuna tiyanmi kaypi.
Yeah.
Mana shukllachu tiyan, como bueno, allima no, como malo mana.
He's saying, yeah, when the experience of the medicine when he takes to get to the regular stage that he get involved into the world that he is meant to be, is like the effect that the medicine plant that's coming to him is first controlling his body to
The medicine
connect,
starts controlling his
control his body. So he said that's where sometimes you can feel sick, like you start to vomit. And this feeling, sick feeling, is not because you want to make something bad. It's cleaning you off. It's something wrong on your system. That part is bringing you off.
Well, when you're doing this, do you see things? Do you see a jaguar? Do you hear a jaguar growl? Do you see a harpy eagle? What do you experience other than just feeling sick?
Yeah. Imata takanya mache nya manas pakta muilakta. Imata tuyangen. Imata shamun kan.
Maese ñuka chiririmon uyarimun como zum aychata timamuy kuychichikarajon. Ña chamusha pundaymi pundaqa murumi rikurin chayashan paskarinkarjon. Como iminami televisión rikunchik paskarin chasnami pagllapamuymi rikurin. Mundo entero ta.
Imata rikungi hasta pumagunata rikungichu. Sacha wiwagunata rikungi.
Tukuitami rikusha chayjuni. Tukuitami rikusha chayjuni. Sacha mandanikpiqa kan yachankimi tukuyruya amuyukmi. Paykunami chay sacha uywakunapa amu kanajon. Pero ñukanchik kay amupa más amo, como su gobierno cuenta manchi ñukanchik.
He's saying, yeah, so the beginning, the start depends on the knowledge. Some are sound healers, some are just whistling healers, only whistling, not really vocalizing. They have different experience of the fact of involving into the spirit world. So in this, he was vocalizing the sounds that you hear, and those sounds can be words of the plants and animals that you regularly you just hear a call, just an anonymous call. But when you're getting into that sound, it starts to open. It's like a visualize that sound will be like a person talking to you, but eventually it's just a sound of plants or winds or animals calling. But eventually that sounds will become a human voice. So it's like according if it's a forest talking to you, because each tree has its own spirit. its owner. And animals is owned by a tree. And that's why animals come to a tree, because tree gives them food. So that's why animals owns the, the, the area, and the trees depends on people. So that connects to them. So that's why the sounds are the first effect in shake, the body shake, the transition to move into that world.
So a lot of it involves
Sounds.
Of animals and plants.
Plants.
He hears the sounds, and then as he gets deeper into state, they're talking to him, giving him messages. Is that right?
That's the sounds are a message, because in the beginning you're still going in and just gonna sound like a wind, like a regular sound.
Does he ask the animals and plants and the world of life? Does he ask them for help me, or help heal this child? Does he ask the plants and animals for help, and then they tell him what to do? What happens?
Paining ka may gambi wagun ongoshkay pinang sinjigang ambingawan ni siya. Kayangichu yurata amarunda mata kanda yana pangawan ni siya. Hayak tukpisyak ambing eteshka shamunundi.
Chita tarimani ambi doctor guna yakumanda sachamanda tukuimanda mekaya paiguna punda rikungaranguna. Paiguna yana pangaranguna yugat. Ima operanak pes mana kai bishina mana viksata partia chupera no. Yueilawan. Pero paiguna tak toco tan chica ta serana. Será atrás. Saque kona nyoka chaiwashami nyoka waira chingarajoni. Chaiwashami nyoka chupangarajoni.
So he said, yeah. So all the trees, all the plants, all the around will come to help, because there's more power to come as one unity. So he is one of the leader to give an energy, to put a life, to heal some person or a child especially. And he haven't seen this life yet. So there's many support that will come to help him. And the spirit world is gonna see the person or the child that's having difficulties or is getting ill, to see where's the problem. And the plant spirit, water spirit, sky spirit, all this will come to go inside.
Don't let me by going inside.
Inside of the body of a child. That means into the spirit of the patient or anybody that the shaman is healing or treating. And once that happens, and they are the one that first help to find. And then the shaman can do the physical part into this world that everybody kind of experience that he's working. But the first work of singing and everything is to bring them all to surround the person or the patient that are sitting there, to do the spiritual cleansing, and there they find. And he's the one that doing like any doctors do, the work as physical work in a person.
Okay. I think I understand.
Is he a song healer? Is that what he said?
Kanga takishami kang thing, you know.
Is there a song that you could give for us now that would give an example of the type?
Yeah, kang taking and takino shangichu ang sata kunashita.
No sé, no pena.
No?
Pena.
Kamu nangichu.
Manak pe takini matatuk. Pero manak kaitono cantana alguna taga manakas na yangai cantai cantaos que chan chaiga solamente vas to pete dice kaya ringarosha cantaos que me caiga.
He said these songs, the healing songs, are very sacred.
Right. Okay.
And
That's fine.
you can sing it only
When it's
important.
I got it.
You don't want to call the spirit for nothing.
Oh,
And,
good point.
Yeah, so you want to call them when it's important.
You don't want to trouble them
It's-
unless it's
yeah,
necessary.
so that one.
Can he just explain what the responsibilities of a shaman are? What do they do? Who do they do it for? What are their responsibilities?
Kay tapong imataga yacha grunaga kay aylu yaktay ranong nisa. Imataganong paiguna. Imanasta runaguna kandarikuno. Imatatarang kuirangichu yanapang imaita yanapang.
Cueranato no vi.
Yeah.
Porque ñuka mana munanichu que vivas a Mongolia kawsankawañish.
Yeah.
Chasna leytami kaypiqa malukunas tiyanawmi.
Yeah.
Paykuna chaypimi contratukuna tukunchik paykunawan yachakpura. Paykuna wañurashkata ñukallichisha. Ñukalchikpi chaymanta ñukanpi ñurinkarunkuna. Chasna tukushami wañuyka tiyanka yachakpuraqa.
He said the role of the community and now is he's a doctor and his job is to make sure that everybody has a little of everything. Most important, the health, and also the other important part is social.
What do you mean by that?
Resource and social is that everybody support each other, that they can understand each other, how important they are, and this will be through speaking, through messages that they can give, and leading people how to do the communal work, I will say, social work together, to interact each other in general. So that's his responsibility to take care of the people if it's need. Everybody's independent, but he can make sure that there is accidents or anything that happens to people. He can advise why will happen those things. If it's there's not many bad things, but the bad thing also exists when you make yourself something bad. So he's an advisor, he's a leader to the community or to the family.
Okay, so physical health, maybe mental health, and helping the community get along in harmony. Do I understand it correctly?
Pretty much that's the idea. Keeping
Okay. Sounds like an important job. So what I'd like to talk to you about now is the controversy of the oil companies coming and wanting to drill in this area. Can you tell him that's what I want to talk to him about?
paiguna kunanin arimana munangichunin ka imata yana kurita lukchinga shamuguna imana shamuganushka kaipinis.
Yeah.
Before he answers, where was he working in the 1980s or the 1990s? The 1990s. Was he working at the oil fields?
Yeah.
Why don't you have him explain what he was doing at the oil fields?
Pai tapung imai pita gargangi nis imai pita lyanka horgangi nis chay nyala kaimanda nyala chunga pichika watai washama mai pita gargangi
Ñuka
are mai pita horgangi
más sí, bueno, 2000 años gama que trabajé en petróleo. Es que chunga wata trabajé en ñuka. Petróleo surcona
mai
ñuka.
pita rangi.
Todo que caíamos soñando por ir en helicóptero y
Yeah.
por ir en Nicaita. Pero con la invasión de Perú, con la invasión de Colombia, otra parte por ahí caña.
So he works for different fields, like all fields after working for 20 years, but it bends in the 90s, he's been at the different corners because he will go to carrying materials or helping. They will fly them with helicopter in different corners. So he has not really in a specific direction where he went in that date.
What was he drilling for oil or carrying sacks of things or working on machines? What kind of work was he doing?
Imata kang yangargang yana kuri trabaho gunawa ka ima chasna kintal gunata mag aparisha.
Mana ñuka hatun taladro huktung gawale. Ñuka anima maquinista.
Yeah.
Solamente más de eso ya no coge surcungawa
He said he works at the carrying things, but later he learned to work at the drilling tower, and so he later started to work on the drilling tower with a machine. So he was up in the tower.
I think you were saying earlier when you were talking to me that when he was working in the oil company, he started thinking about what will the future of the people be for who live on the Napo, the Quechua people, and do I understand what you told me? Can you have him explain his thoughts there?
Paining imata tarikurkang ining siya masti pe yana kuriguna yankasha purisha imana takaita yalpak sachamanda yakumanda runa kunamanda yuyarikangi chasna purisha.
Bueno, ñuka trabarani cualquiera que ponda.
Yeah.
Ñuka Cuenta repararani chay kusha ñukanchaypa llaqta chaqishrijura. Ñukanchik tukuy animalkuna charishka illakta chinkarijura. Pero ñuka wawakunata harkasha nisha, ñuka wawakunata anzales killkata rikuchay nisha trabajama tukurkani. Tukuyta riparasha rikushka washami kayta supunka ñuka vencerani paykunata. Shuk wata enterotami ñukata killachiwanahora ama kayta kushun nisha. Pero ñuka riksirani tukuy waqlli rawashkata yaku partimanta, wayra, arroya, sacha tukuy rawashkata rikushkasha paykunallata riksichishkaraykumi chaywan ganarani paykunata.
He said he been pretty much working for oil company because of money. Eventually, he started to see the money was needed to give education to his child. You know, some people start to say they must get educated to understand, you know, what is the next world away from the knowledge of this place. And this is where he started to learn, or more interested in learning the field, like the oil mining or drilling field, the oil industry in general. And that's where he started to notice it, that what happens to the next community. And animals are getting less because of a big roads being built in some places where he been. And when he saw then the just beginning of the oil drilling, it was a big forest, and then there was a massive area, and eventually big roads started to open suddenly, and then people moving away and now living in different places, and difficult. And the water that they were drinking, it wasn't helping enough, because he understand that they themselves in the field will train them about pollution, what chemicals is dropping in water, what they're doing with, and he will see that from the inside. And that's where he started to understand that that's not the right thing.
Was he trained to put certain chemicals in the water? Why don't you ask him that? So he's
Paiguna kan tapung chay yana kuriguna kandaga yacha chinurkachu nisha chay mas sucio yakukunata yaku mas talingapo yakukunama chasna talishkata rikushkangichu.
Karan 15 kilómetros yachachikunara. Imagina waglishka, imagina yaku waglina, imagina tukuyta, wayra, hawamas, silumawas, kay sacha, animalkunas. Paykuna rimakunamara siempre mana waglinchu nisha, pero paykunallata killkay rikukpi paykunallata rimana kasna waglichan kayta nisha. Pero gobierno necesitamos kullkita kay ñukanchik llaktata mashtin paykuna allichinkawan nisha, chasnaraykumi paykunaga mashtiranchik nahora kay shuk parte llaktamanta.
He said, yeah, he has no idea what he was doing when you drill. Most of the things by then used to go to the river. But he learned to read, and when people goes to the community, he will say, "There's not polluted. They clean this." But he knows to learn to read, and he will read the information, and they will train what each chemical from the oil field is gonna do. It's gonna pollute the river, it's gonna pollute the air, it's gonna pollute the trees, it's gonna pollute the soil, and everything. But then he will say, now he could understand that they're not saying the truth. This is not clean, because he already know that, and thanks to themselves that will train him, because he was in the inside, so will keep them him as he were not watching, because they think that people are not thinking forward. But he already witnessed that. But of course, he didn't have a really clear idea what was going to happen if the water was pouring in different places.
Well, let me see if I understand, and I'll recap it, and you recap it to him and see if he agrees. He was working in the oil fields, and he noticed that the forest was being destroyed and the animals were going away for various reasons. He also saw that the oil companies were dumping chemicals in the water, and they were saying, "Oh, don't worry, it's safe." But he started researching and learned that those chemicals were poisonous. So he learned that the companies were destroying the forest and polluting the water, and he came to that conclusion. Do you understand what I'm saying? Why don't you please ask him, tell him what I just said, and see if he agrees with that, and that's what was correct.
kan rimashka ganchu kan yacharkanki mana paykuna yakuta waklichinun nisha imashnata sacha wiwakunaqa chinkarihunun nisha chay yanakurita llukchik apukunaqa kashna runa llaktakunaman shamushaka yakuqa mana suciuchu kan nisha upinallami han nisha chashna llullakunataqa kan uyashkankichu kan chashna yalikunatachu karka kan chaytami rimanki manchu.
Ari, chayarami kaypi kay Chimbapura San Roque comunami chaymi shamunara pichika compañiamanta hasta shuk ingenieroqa gobierno kachashka shamunara chaypi rimanara paykuna llullanara ñuka 19 años de experienciata charirani trabajashkata chaypi shamush rimanara petroleowan turismowan mana waklinchu ni kayma ni kayma.
He said, yeah, he agreed. That's what he is the point, and now he comes with an example how even now they're doing that, and that he been in a reunion in the recent years with the next community just across the Napo to see what the people saying again to the communities. So he said, saying the comparison between tourism and the oil industries, that those two are helpful. They can drill, and if somebody wants to do tourism there, they can do it. There's not a big differences. It's almost the same. And he said that's a lie. And he knew that his experience is completely different.
Okay, should we have the person quit hammering, or is it not a big deal?
I'm not hearing it.
Okay. All right. So I want to now talk about what I'm going to call the controversy. I understand there was a time when some company said, we'd like to drill on this side of the Napo near Sani. Okay. Would you please take money to allow us to drill here? Is what I said correct? Can you have them tell us what happened, please?
Painin kaypi yanakurita llukchikuna shamushkay. Imata tukurkanin paykuna kaypimi shamunayanchik nisha yanakuritami llukchina munanchik nisha kaypi kullkitami kankunata kungaranchik nisha imata tukurka kaypi kaykunawan.
Bueno, chay tukura kaypi shuk huktuna tukushay ñukañirani kunan compañero comunawana trimarani kunan ñukami sharingarani al frente kaypi nisha kamangarajuni mana ñuka kay hotelta llukshichisha tukuy kusaswan mana paykunakukpi mana ushankunachu ñukawan shuk wata enterotami paykunawan kaytoy ñuka sapalla paykunaqa tukuy estudiashkakunami charinara ñuka ñawpakpi ñukaqa sapalla tukuytami laruma tangarani solo gerente illan cuentashanisha porque shukkuna
kaymanta comunakuna imata
comunakuna bueno paykuna ñukata ñiwanara kan ushasha kamaynisha autorización de kuanara ñukata ñuka ñirani ñukata sapiaychik ñuka kamasha kaytanisha.
He's saying is he has a lot of experience in working in the oil field. When they come here trying to drill oil and trying to negotiate, the offers sounds very convincing for people and want to that. And also neighboring communities want to drill that. And he said if there's oil companies coming, to let him to come in to take a lead to the community, that he can actually create something to fight back, that he can get out of that some beneficial thing for the community, so with his experience can debate against the oil company.
Is that what he said to the people back then?
Back then,
That I have experience, why don't you let me talk to oil companies? Okay, and then what happened next?
Imata tukurka chaywasha kan shayamuguna pay comuna nisha kan yanapang comunata yanapangami shayarini nisha.
Sí, bueno, ñuka wata punta tukushay vencerani chaypimi ñiwara gerente kituy ñiwara kunan ganawankimi nisha kunan kungamarawanchik kanta ñuka munani nisharimara paykuna ashka kullkitam kaypi ñukanchik churangarawanchik ushankichik machari kayta hawamashikachinkapak nishnala ñuka nirani usashun imatanchik. Kankuna rimankichik mana ushankichik pero ñukanchik ashka yuyaytam charinchik kay umatanchik. Rikuchinkarawni shinirani ñuka tormentarisha kankunawan kaypi makanakushkata rikuchinkarawni shinirani.
So he's saying when that happens, so he get into the lead to negotiate with all companies, engineers, and anybody to see that this is not a field for drilling, and this is a place to protect this, and that he has a mind to create the lodge already back then.
So he had an idea.
An idea
No drilling here. We're making a lodge.
for making the lodge.
Is this something he was thinking about when he was negotiating with oil companies?
All companies, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so did he come back to the community and say, well, they want to give us, does he remember how much money they were offering? It's not important. I'm just curious as to how much it was.
Kan yu yaring ichu mas na ta kulkita kuna kungaranur ka chay watay.
Bueno, kulki payguna primerame kanchis patsa guarangata. Chay payguna ojo derecho nishki payguna partimanta runa. Llamo serema tukuy barayo tanto milushinchi tukuyinchi. Chay pay umasha nisha shamura rimara kasna. Kaybi mestre que yanakuri huktun lushikpi tukuy comunarunaguna ishkay chunga pichika watata trabana derecho tama charingichi nisha rimara. Chasanikpi ñuka rikuya libro de constitución de la república rikujuni ñuka mana chasna kan. Chaypi pay trimarani tukuy payga binsinimi nisha yuyarira pay último taparani ñuka. Ima a ver ima artículo itariman kayta ishkay chunga pichika wata trabangawa tukuy comuna maybi tariman. Itam ñuka tapurani payta.
And he's saying the offer of the money back then was about 800,000
For the entire
for
community?
the entire community, and that
Just
would
this community or more or different community?
just this community.
800,000.
800,000, and also give a job for 30 years to every single
could work.
work at the field.
And where does he remember where they wanted to drill?
It might be tapaguna alyashan nurka puri might.
A ver, maestro ñukanchik pilchan con lindas que manda choscuaranga metro caima.
Yeah. And he said it was like on the border between different community, Pilchi and Sani. They want
Is
to
that
do
upriver or downriver?
upriver. It's
Okay.
further deep.
Okay. Did the other community accept the money or not?
Chashu Pilchi ka kulkita peracho.
Mana,
Paiguna
mana
man.
ñukanchik alpayma, maestro.
Yeah.
Karangamo me charinchi jurídico, papel jurídico, entonces mana payunan man tocar.
No, so the other communities, they are smaller, so they
Did they kind of follow what Sani
follow
did?
what Sani
Okay,
did.
so did he come back and tell Sani community, well, we have an offer, they'll pay us 800,000, they'll drill right almost in the lagoon, and then everybody gets a job for 30 years working for the oil company. Did he come back and tell them that's what the offer was?
Pai din kang pai guna chay kulkita kuna tamuna nukika imata como guna erimanure.
Como no gusto tan cusianora cualquiera hapin garanchinisha.
Sasna.
Ajá. Ñuka nirani último fue trimarani. Me he visto que trabajo primeramente más trabajo y se tocó una trabaja que rimanche. Amanda pega abogado chani señor. Entonces imata trimahungi kai binirani. Kaitam shamurangi eri kai manda. Ñuka ringarani kitubi kan mana shamungi chokai mamas. Ñuka charini más ya liyuetam charini kan manda ni shiriman pe.
Iruna guna tuku kushasha mana.
Guna chaile pitir kani ñuka.
Mana piña na ko.
Mana piña wanarache. Ñuka paiguna trimarani. Kay kulki kangunata kungarawshka shukutinlami. Mana más kungonacho. Ñuka makanakuhunimi kaybi shuk trabajo viña mundo tokurinagama luxina trabajo tam ñuka makanakuhuni. Ñukata sakiwaichi ñuka me kaytarikuhuni ni sherimanan penata.
Say everybody was happy when that smile and say everybody was happy to see the money.
We're going to get rich.
And we're gonna get the money in for everything. But he's the only one to convince the person per person to talk about that money is gonna be once. Sounds a lot, but once. It's not forever. That he's gonna fight the idea of creating a job opportunity for the community if it's possible forever. That was the idea of Sani.
Okay, so when he got the offer, about how many people are in the Sani community?
About 700 people.
So that's about $1,000 a person.
About $1,000.
Oh, this is great. $1,000 is a lot of money. Okay, we're going to be rich. But he started saying, "Don't do it." Do I understand him correctly?
Yeah.
That's stupid. When did was there controversy? Like, Orlando, we don't care what you're saying. I want the money. Was there a controversy about that?
Piñana kunga kaya nabgachu kumunaguna paiguna pura chikulkita munan chinisha.
Mana, ñuka entendichirani payunata, ñuka kayta surkupiga, tukuy comunarunami trabajashkanakuna, hasta mundo tukurinagama. Kay kullkikunanishka shuk pasayllami, kuti mana kunkunachu. Tukuy ñukanchik allpatan waklichinkarankunan shiñarani. Ñuka riksini chay tukuy wata trabajashñarani. Ñuka dañacha purishuni ñuka masuniata nishani imarayku, ñuka wawakunarayku shuk panlla sapashanishi. Chayraykumi ñuka trabajani nishani. Chayraykumi riksisha rikushami kankunata rimani nishañarani. Pero kay hotel llukshipi mas kullkimi llukshinka kaypi nishañarani.
Saying not that much strong, deep, because he has a family already chosen, but for certain families it was difficult because they were getting away from the offer. And the controversies, the argument that it did happens individual families. In the community, he get the explanation constantly that this must be chosen. So the community was ready to follow his advice, his recommendation, that trust him that this job must be created in certain amount of time, that the people will see the process of the creation of the job that he's offering instead of getting the money like once. So that's the one thing.
Can we stop for a moment and change battery and chips?
Yeah. Shamanic. Oops. Please ask him if he had any kind of a shamanic vision or any kind of a vision that involves constructing Sani Lodge to save the forest so that people can have a job in relation to this offer from the oil company.
Pai irimang, nukan cita erimau ini siya. Kan cari kangicu ini siya. Ayahuasca to pisha. Muskoi gunapis. Kai sacha gunata kispichinata. Kai Sani Lodge kata winya chingao, apa mungao, puti pangao. Kai kompania guna, gana kurita isa kuna. Nawa kaita imana tari kurkangi.
Kuna ganya kunchacho?
Ari.
Ne. Mira. Pundaga ñuka yuyay bicharirani. Ñuka yuyay bicharirani. Washaga ñuka muskuy. Ñuka yuyarani paktana mani nisha. Paktana mani harkana mani kaita nisha. Washa, a ver.
He said to rebuild this place and this thing. He has in his mind already into seeing. And then he dreamed about this. And the dream was that to achieve something to protect this place, to achieve something for the people, for the community, something seeing what is coming for them and how they can have this place built.
Ya. Chaywasha tukuita kaita yuyarisha tiagarani, muskuita chaparani, paktarani, chaywasha waskato pisha tiarishkavi, chaybi chasnarikurani. Ashka kay hatun llaktamanta pillungata kay mesta tiarishka chawpi ñuka shiyarirani. Chaybi chikillkata ñaka ñurani paskachka tukuy kay wasitukuna puntum chayra tak 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 kayman inseñera kamba yuyay.
So the thinking in his mind was actually Bruce waiting to be guided in his dream before he takes the medicine to visualize out like more part than that the Lord. So he dreamed, and what he sees in general is this place is a brain, like
What?
a big brain.
Did he take medicine to do this?
No, this is just a dream.
A dream.
A dream in his sleep.
He dreamed that this place was a big brain.
Big brain that has different corners around. And so when he saw in his dream this, then he was trying to see it, to understand what was that about. And so when he had this medicine tea, so he can visualize that a big table was open in front of him. And that's where every people from around the world sitting in the table, showing him a big book. And that was the lodge design, all the idea of this place.
Okay. So he had a dream. There's a dream of a big brain. We're going to build a lodge. Then he took medicine. And then he had a vision of a long table, and people from all around the world were coming to eat at the table, and that was the lodge.
That was the Lord, the creation of the Lord. And the big table was a big book. Like
The table
I like
was
a
a
book.
or there was a book on the
There
table?
was a book in the table, something that looks like a book.
So there was a big, huge table with people all around the world, and on the table was a big book. Were they looking at the book?
They were opening for him.
They're opening for the book. And then, after he had that vision, what did he do? Did he go and explain it to the community?
And what was the book?
Do we know anything about the book?
Yeah, so the book is saying the people are sitting around this place, and they told him that this is not a book, that is his brain. That was on the
But
table.
whose brain? His
Or
brain.
His brain.
So the people around the table were looking at a book, and he
Book.
goes, "What's the book?" And they said, "It's your brain."
It's the brain. That everything into it is on his head. So wherever he's into it, he's already done. It's already into it. So that he will achieve that. It's already written.
It's already done.
Yeah.
It's already done. So he needs to visualize it. It's going to happen. It's going to turn it.
Turn it into something.
Into reality.
Into reality. So,
Okay, so it's already there. Okay.
all right.
Did he come back and tell this to people?
Kang kaita rimarkang ichu uruna gunat kang arikushkata haya irikata rimarang iman nura.
Nyuka ni sinirani lukshinga mirang kaini siya. Ama kolkita yari chichu. Kai biri kunimi ashka aruna me hatong laktamanda Shaman.
Yeah, he went to tell this his dream to the community people, saying he has a vision that in this place there is many people that comes from different places. Don't see the money as the support from the community, but people. That's what he have visualized. And his vision wasn't a money, it was a people there.
So it's all about people.
All about people.
And then when did people start discussing, well, if we build a lodge here, we'll preserve the forest and we'll allow the community to earn money for schools and things like that. So that began to be started talking about that. Okay. Who sort of took the lead in actually building the lodge?
Pita kay gunata kaita kang kaita wang mapanggawan nir kang komun na gunata kang ba muskuita kang hayay di kuskata apanggawan ni siya. Pita shayar kang da yana panggawa kay kayuyay ta panggawa.
Na nyuka wa manda pacha nyuka yai michaiga.
Yeah.
Na nyuka rukuguna kamachishka yai tamchari nyuka.
Yeah.
Chai wang mi nyuka nya rukuya sari hushaga apa sari hurani masi pensarisha imagina rasata causashanisha imagina rasata shuhatun trabajo ta tuku iruna trabanga pachurashanisha yai wawa manda pacha charini nyuka.
Kaita kaita rangawa pita yana park. Iruna guna kaita kanda yana
Kai bigaskaro tuku ikaseñale como una guna kai una tabangaba pero kai arquitecto guna paiguna mestishka man.
No.
Arquitectado me kay wasiwaguna ga kay modelo. Chay awashkaguna ga chiga kay runaguna trabaja tukuyruna trabanora.
So he said all the support come for the community after all the discussion that they have. They understood in the end that they will see it. He has the experience, he knows, and they will follow, and the community start to follow him to create that they can understand that what he is looking for, and then the rest of the communities, even if there were controversies between the families, but to see it, to follow what will happen next.
And so people started working on the lodge.
Working on the
What
lodge.
year was that?
Imawatay kay ka
2001 niya tera chuskuasi ikay.
in 2001, they start to build 4 cabins in this main place.
Chusku kabanyalang inauguranti shuk pasajero holi.
So he said,
Samar inaugurasim kay.
they built 4 cabins in this area and only had 1 visitor to open the town.
So, I'm going to ask other people if they have any questions, but one last question for me is he continuing to have dreams or visions of the future in any way? Or
Paita pong kang kunaga imatatari kuhungi nyawpam. Imatatatukong kay charingichu imatukushkata.
Chita tanihoni sinyukanchi wangurisha sinjiasha kituite okunata masialikta naya umayukta chura mana ushangana chueta. Laro taga tukuitam chausinahu. Laro to pero kay biga mana. Mana sirinja.
He sees a very positive dream in this place, but he said in one vision he been from the top, and he says all of this forest is finished in a long time, but not gonna do this. The community is strong enough to stand it, but the rest is done. And he said this gonna be a road in the future,
this is going to be a road.
somewhere near around this.
There's going to be a road,
And this is not gonna be a place. So that's his vision. He sees,
hopefully that's a long time from now.
and he sees that in the next community, the neighboring community is a town. It's a town next to us, and this will remain a forest.
This
But
will remain a forest.
Remain a forest, and for that, is helping people, the young ones, to be strong, to keep this. And the
Keep it.
vision is more efficient that this will stay as how it is. But the rest around will be not the same.
Not Yasuni National Park. You're just talking about this area along the Rio Napo.
Mana tukuy sacha, masti chimbama sacha pas, parque nishka.
Para kita mana tanto el china pues una como más gobierno una rimangona che lindrasin peruano y cuando chay mayanda porque shongona mi sam chay tai chawsongona pero su parte cantidad taga wagli china mana tokuita.
So the national park, no. Some areas around the park is all messed up,
So
except
the park will remain.
Remain.
But the outside areas might get all messed up.
Messed
But
up.
Sani will remain.
will remain. That's his vision. So, but to do that, he have to work on people to make
You
sure
have to get the young people
young people
with the program.
with the program.
Okay, anybody else with questions?
I would just ask if there's anything he wants us to know that we haven't asked him about.
Pai tapong imata na munangi paigunata paiguna mana tapos kata imamasta kang na munangi paigunata.
A ver. Kay contaminación partimanda nyuga kay mamasya mana pagtaktari marani kay bipayon na churanara oficinata. No. Pichika compañía manda shamucha churanara mana petróleo ga waglichinjo ni sari manga shamanara. Chay binyo kacharirani chunga is con wata experiencia trabajo trabajata. Tukuy toda tiani payguna pantalla animal chari ima chari petróleo mayanda pellocta tianguna pero mana chasnan ñuka riksini más que payguna anaw killkallawa ñuka chay masita riku kani. Tukuyta payguna rimanarami kirichichimi nisha. Tukurishkaymi tapurani mas compañíamun tapurani. Ishkay tapunallatam charini kanta munani kan ñukata contestawankapak. Shirimarani. Kan pensankichu kan rimawshka mana waqllishkachu yaku nisha. ¿Ciertotachu rimajunki? Contestaway, rimaway. ¿Ciertotachu rimanki? Kayranman ña tapisharikuna kaymachima maymantata kay llukshin nisha. Chayta nishka washan rimarani. Kankuna mana kay tunata rimanatushankichu. Rimanamankichi. Kay Napo yaku tukuy waqllishkami pero amas que waqllishka ashkatami ñukanchik ama mas waqllichu nishami raunchik nisha rimanata charinkichik kankuna nisha rimarani.
An important message that he's giving, and as also with examples. And the idea is like about the contamination, the pollution that's happening to the rivers, to the soil in different places. And I will make this short. He's saying that the message must be brought to industries that the local people know what is happening, understand what's happening. The only thing they ask is that they must be honest to say it, what's gonna happen. Even if it's big industry, if it's going somewhere else, just tell them what is happening to the river. And do a damage in an honest way. Like they're gonna kill everybody or they're gonna finish the river and
Be
die.
honest about
We
it.
know it because there's nobody, no people here are stupid enough to understand it. That he knows. That means that other people know, and they know that this industry is coming long before they did come. So people understand. The only thing is they're trying to convince with the small things that thinking that people don't know. So honest way that they do understand that the river is polluted, they're getting something else into their system, that they must do it honest way.
Muchas gracias.
Yes,
señor.
muchas gracias.
Muchas
Yeah.
gracias.
Y otra cosa que manche hatun electrica ahorita, ¿no? Chaybi tapunawra. Shaman, doctor profesional, may kantan diferencias. Yaringichu.
Sí, sí, claro.
Mongolia mandara doctor profesional, no paita tapunawra. Como payara doctor profesional, shaman profesional. Tapunara paita. Entonces, siempre no queremos que es nada. Doctor operación de patín exacta. Shaman mana. Mentalmente operan. Chaylami diferencia tienen sharimara mongolia manda.
He's not saying anything. He's laughing. He's a shaman, and when he sees people around, and he hasn't experienced what the doctors from all around the world, because we've been in the conference. I translate for him too. That they call them healing and transformation ceremonies that happens in California,
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Probably in Arizona too. So what's he saying about the ceremony?
And he said, were doctors all over, and there were some shamans from Mongolia, and he was a professional organ transplanter, like livers and all that.
The shaman?
And also he was now shaman too, but he been doing this. And he said that he's a doctor that actually cuts with a knife the belly of a patient because it's easier and faster.
Ah,
And for him, he said, for him it's faster too. So he's a doctor, but he surged that with his brain, with his mind, instead of with the knife.
Ah,
So it's more healthy and clean, but takes a little longer time. So
Well, it's they're harder to find, these kind of doctors. Not a whole lot of medical schools pumping them out.
yeah.
Well, just tell him once again, thank you so much. We're very honored he's sharing his knowledge and his experience with us. And we're going to try to tell as many people as we can about what's going on here. So,
Des paiguna pagrachunun kay pikan kay rimashamu shaman las ka pagrachunun kan rimashka galim yana panata munachimi kayto kay masacha guna waglish guna manda paiguna llaktama pasharisha rixichinga mirancha
Me manda cuánto no.
is asking where you from.
we're from Arizona.
Yeah.
Kevin, myself, they're from Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay. The other gentleman I don't think you've met is from New York. Okay. My wife is from Arizona too. So we're all from the United States.
Paiguna ga Estados Unidos nishka llakta ganche nishka llakta manda chay manda pero chay charinun karan shug chay llakta gunata.
Ah, yeah.
But tell them that we want to come back in February to count the birds with the bird guides here, and that one gentleman's from Holland, but he
Holland.
lives in Quito. Another gentleman lives in Finland, from Helsinki, and he'd be coming in here. And then there's an American that lives in Quito too. So another American, a Dutchman, and a Scandinavian would also be coming here to work with the bird guides here to see how many birds are here and see how many are left and count them and to help with the film. So
Paiguna ninun kay chashu watata febrero kilay kutillata mishamunchinen Quito llaktay mi causano paiguna mashiguna 15 guna shuga Finlandia
llaktay?
nishka llaktamanda
¿Para un lectay?
mana kay Quito shuga
Ah,
paiguna ga paiguna llaktay causano pero mashiguna causanun kay Quito llaktay
Ah, ya.
shuga Holanda manda shuga Finlandia nishka llaktamanda mama kuchi chimbash chay febrero kilay kay piga pishkukunata yupangawan mishamungaranchine masna pishkukuna tutanon chaywan yanapangawan chay yupashan pishkukunata rikush chay tukukuna miran chay yupay paykuna kayma shamungaranun pishkukunata yupangawan masna tatian ashka chutian
Ya. Ñuka partimanta rimay machari Javier payguna llaktay paktasha karan payguna llaktay paktasha siempre cuentanawchun kay Sani partimanta. Ñukanchita yanapanawchun payguna shamukpi payguna sakisha kullkianmi ñukanchik genteta ima unguy partimanta killka partimanta imamantash yanapariunchik nisha rimay payguna llaktay chaytam ñuka paykunata hatun tapuyta mañani.
It's again give you many thanks for coming and supporting the community itself. And he's saying thanks to the visitors, thanks to the people that comes here. They have some incomes that support the whole community, and this will, if this can help the community or help to promote or be known around, and the people can come here to support this, that will be really appreciate whoever that comes with a big purpose that they are supporting this. This is a place where they can come and rest, but in the same time, the community will really appreciate that they will do. So that's how they are trying to make some income for the future of the kids.
awesome. We'll do our best
Yep.
to have the whole world know. Okay,
Okay.
muchas gracias,
Yeah.
señor.